morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of With Conviction, a story of hope, horror, and history. My name is Rain, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm your GM for this adventure. With me are my determined heroes for this campaign. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Alice, otherwise known as Rain Give Rob Courage. I play Desdemona Hartwood. Both of us use she and they pronouns. And Desdemona is our rose heart guardian, gothy, punky, magical girl with a heart of pink.
Hi, I'm Skywin. My pronouns are they and them, and I play Chris Whitlock, whose pronouns are she or any. Chris is our volleyball captain, softball bat wielding magical not a girl, who is our firebrand artillery, who just found one of our girls and is about to punch somebody else. Maybe.
And I am Rob. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Eliza, whose pronouns are she, her. Eliza is our finally back in action, fiery, stalwart soul warrior magical girl. And she is also probably about to punch someone.
Indeed, because last we left you, Chris had found a man who was able to give you quite a few answers, and in the process, found someone that is most likely Faith, who has been missing for some time. And Eliza has found Hazel. After a brief confrontation, Eliza rallied herself enough to reclaim her magic and transform into her full battle dress.
I did roll a 7 to transform, by the way, so I shift 1 towards darkness.
Indeed. Also, because of that honestly quite awesome moment, go ahead and take courage.
Ooh.
Hazel looks at you. You're not going to stop, are you?
Not until I have Faith back.
Not until you've destroyed her and me and all of this.
Eliza just points out the window.
All right. Hazel reaches up toward a mount on the wall, and her hand wraps around the grip of her sword. As she brings it down, it pivots in her hand and stabs into the marble ground beneath her feet with a crack. Gold begins to bubble up from the fissure, leaking up the dull edges of the sword. It flows up around the curled guard and flows across her fingers. As it touches her skin, the gold flares brightly, the glow rushing back down the sword's edge. She lifts it aloft, the liquid gold on its point describing a half circle in the air around her. Steel gleams brightly as she holds it aloft, brilliant edge reflecting a light beyond light. The brilliance grows more and more until you cannot bear to look. Gold seeps and swirls around her torso, her arms, her legs. It flows into fluted waves as it pales, turning to a metallic white. More of the liquid pours out from under the armor, forming her long robe like waves caught at sunrise. She reaches out, lifting one hand in a beckoning gesture, and ichorous liquid flows from the ground. It forms into the floating shape of her salle, and she reaches out to take it. Hazel lifts the helm easily and dons it, a flickering gold shining from behind her visor.
All right, you've picked up some fancy tricks. We see Eliza, we get a quick zoom in on her eyes as she takes stock of everything in the room. Hazel's new transformed form, blind faith, and the layout of the room itself. She's looking at Hazel's sword, and we get a distinct sense she's comparing it to her own. So, you've taken, what, a third of the town? And I have to ask, what's your end game here?
You still don't listen. I already told you.
Yeah, I mean after you fix the people that you hurt. What's your next step?
Then I go looking for more places where the darkness is trying to hurt people. I already said that.
Eliza rolls her eyes. Hazel, what was the first thing I ever told you about magic? Dark is not evil, and light is not good.
You wouldn't know.
Been doing this a lot longer than you have, and if one of us isn't listening, it's not me. But you want to settle this at a sword point? Come and get me. And Eliza turns, and leading with the tip of her sword, she lunges, her jets thrusting, as she flies straight through the window, shattering it, and flies into the air outside of the apartment.
You float in the open air outside. Below you, you can see the burbling spring of gold. You can feel the almost oppressive presence of the light just beneath your feet. You can see the marble landscape around you. Everything that was once wood and siding and asphalt and trees now rendered in ivory and gold. You see, a moment after you, the door to the apartment opens, and Hazel walks out onto the small balcony and just looks at you.
We get a quick shot of Eliza, and we've seen her do this before. It was a long time ago, but when she took Faith flying, she was constantly scanning the sky for planes. And she does that now, expecting there to be flying creatures or something around her.
There doesn't seem to be anything in the immediate vicinity. Further out, you can see one or two dots, but it's difficult to make out what they are. It's hard to tell which direction they're moving, but they don't seem to be an imminent problem.
So everything has been replaced with marble and gold, right?
At least in the immediate area, yes.
Eliza flies over and sets down on one of the other apartment buildings in this little complex, further from the portal. And she's just looking at Hazel, waiting for her to make a move, seeing if she's going to follow after her.
Hazel is waiting as well, watching you. She doesn't seem to be making a move. Chris.
Yeah.
You have just found someone who your muscle memory tells you is Faith. And you have just gotten a lot of answers from a man who doesn't like to give many. What are you doing?
Chris lets go of the hug that she had wrapped Faith in and gently guides her to the bench that Chris had been sitting on. Chris takes a steadying breath, letting all of the calculations happen in her body. She knows that the team needs her at her best, and that means taking advantage of this moment. She turns to the man with the widow's peak and says, "You said you wanted out, right?
I did.
Do you want me to take you with me? I'm getting Faith out of here. I think that's the safest place for her until we get her pieces back." She turns to Faith, "And we will get your pieces back. I know what you're going through." And she turns back to wait for an answer.
Her body language suggests a smile, though it's hard to read her face. The man, on the other hand, looks at you, purses his lips, and glances down at the notebook that he had not taken notes from your story in. Well, that would make things easier.
Okay. I have one more question. When an avatar gives up their power and the gray collapses, what happens if they are in it? Would she remember what she did? What she chose?
That, I'm afraid I do not know. As I said, this is not my area of specialty. I can speculate, but I do not know.
Chris's jaw tightens. If he's able to read expressions, he would notice that it's not from anger, but from uncertainty. She glances at Faith, worrying eyes passing over the dreamlike face, and then she turns back to the librarian. She takes a heavy step toward him, and she says, "If I am getting you out of here, I need you to make me a promise."
He raises an eyebrow and makes a gesture to indicate to you, go on.
She takes another step toward him, and earth flows from her feet up his body, covering his chest, and it hardens into a stony shell. She points and says, "If you ever meet someone like me again, you do not withhold answers. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. We might have had a chance to stop this. Before it happened, if you had just said something." And at the end of her sentence, she punches that shell and it shatters, clattering off onto the floor. "Don't you dare do that again."
I hope you are satisfied.
Chris's mouth sets in a line and she sighs.
Well then, let's get to work, shall we?
"Come on, Faith." She puts out her hand to take Faith's, and she looks back at this man. "You better give me something to call you, otherwise I'm calling you Widow Peak fucker, and I don't think you'll like that."
He looks at you, raises an eyebrow. I'll work on coming up with something witty.
"Fine. Come on, Widow Peak." And she takes a careful step out the door with Faith and this man that irritates her so in tow.
Everyone else seems to stand up and move with you, almost as if by guiding one person of the group, you're guiding all of them. Eliza.
Hazel, did you notice that there's no lock on your gray?
She tilts her head slightly.
Eliza holds up her sword as if to indicate. With the rider, we had to have that sword and cut portals open to get into his gray. With yours, we just drove right in, or walked, either one. And you know what that means? It means that other people are going to be wandering in here and getting hurt by your creations.
Nobody will get hurt if you just let me work.
What about Jesse?
What about Jesse?
Jesse came within inches of getting hurt. And that was before I even knew where this gray was, so you can't pin that one on me. You have already hurt people, and you're going to keep hurting people unless you stop. And I think this has to be a sway roll.
Indeed.
Well, that's a 9 on the dice, plus if I'm allowed to add silver tongue, it makes it a 10.
Okay. She hesitates for a moment. From the doorway behind her, you hear, "Stop lying, Eliza! All you care about is being the hero. Why are you so obsessed with picking this fight?" And the copy of Faith appears in the doorway and lays a hand on Hazel's shoulder. I assume you are continuing to scan the area.
Yeah.
Out of the corner of your eye, down a fairly major road, you notice a large group of these creatures, some more human, some less, moving in your direction. But your attention is pulled off of that as Hazel asks you, "Do you know where you are right now?"
Eliza just looks around. I'm going to conclude this is your apartment?
You're wrong, you know. But you don't care about that, do you?
I do, actually. So how does it work? Do you have to grant each person permission?
No, actually, I think I'm sick of talking to you. Get out. Just leave.
Eliza puts on her best shit-eating grin, walks over to a corner of this building, which she's standing on, and with her sword in hand, she just slashes off the corner of the roof, a few of these marble tiles falling to the ground. It didn't do anything, but it made a bit of a mess.
Hazel looks at you. It's hard to read her expression behind the helmet. She just kind of looks at you. Just leave.
Eliza looks over at the procession of creatures that were heading her way a moment ago.
They're getting closer.
All right. If you insist, then I will just... And she steps off the edge of the building, and while floating in the air, her rocket thrusters ignite. She's not flying away. She's flying straight towards Hazel.
Hazel glances at Faith, steps over the railing of the balcony and drops 20 feet onto the ground. The marble cracks under her feet. Are you trying to start a fight?
We see a shot of absolute delight and satisfaction on Eliza's face. She does not adjust her aim. She's flying towards Faith now, who was right behind Hazel.
Are you trying to start a fight?
Yes, and she's going for blind Faith.
Understood. Make your fight roll.
All right, that is a 6 on the dice, plus 2 for reading patterns is 8.
8. Your blow strikes home as you streak out of the sky onto the balcony and you stab downward at this false Faith. Or you're pretty sure.
Pretty sure that I inflicted 2 stress, but somehow your phrasing makes me worry about that.
Because there is a flash of light and a hand seizes your sword and wrenches it upward. And you can see Hazel's gauntlet gripping your sword tightly, deflecting it as she takes 2 stress instead. She is somehow back up on the balcony.
Eliza hovers backwards, leaving her sword in Hazel's gauntlet. She's hovering about 6 feet from the edge of the balcony, just directly above the gravel below it. Her sword is burning still, blue fire just getting brighter and brighter in Hazel's gauntlet.
You see that blue fire become brighter and begin to turn to gold, and she throws it aside,
It discorporates into ash when it hits the ground.
naturally. What happened to you? What happened to you in the dark? You would never have treated Faith this way.
Jesse doesn't remember Faith. And if you're half the researcher and monster tracker you were before, you know exactly what that means.
Eliza, please, we don't have to fight. Just put down the sword and listen and just please get out of your own head. And Faith is going to try to sway you. That is a 5 on the dice with a +3 to plead
Oh,
is an 8.
so Eliza shifts 1 towards light.
Correct.
All right. Eliza's fire shifts from blue to a natural orange, and she slowly descends until she lands on the ground, and her jetpack folds up.
Indeed. And I should take this moment to clarify that there are 3 zones in this fight. There is on the balcony, there is in the sky, and there is on the ground. You can feel as you settle onto the ground that oppressive brightness of the spring behind your back. Des,
Hi.
as you follow these creatures down the road, you are flying some distance behind them, I believe?
Yes. Goal was I've lost both people now, so I'm trying to find someone.
Indeed. I'm not going to make you roll to spot because it's not very hard to see Eliza standing off next to a spring of liquid gold, looking up at Hazel and this copy of Faith. There are swords drawn. Tension is in the air. You are in the sky. There are monsters on the ground. What are you doing?
Oh, interesting. I didn't think I would get to join the combat. So can I reach the fight like now?
You are in the fight.
Okay, great.
Unless you want to not be.
No, I like this. Des drops down next to Eliza.
We see just this grin on Eliza's face.
I drop down next to her, put a hand on her shoulder, and Des goes, "Hey there. Looks like you could use your own bit of a lift." Uh, and I'm gonna try to sway Eliza.
Oh,
That is 6 plus 2. That is an 8.
Very
which way are
nice.
you sending me?
You are coming up 1 light.
All right. Eliza's jetpack unfolds again, and there's little just ready bits of flame coming out, and there's a soft yellow now.
And to finish your turn, Des turns and glares at Hazel and goes, "Hi, Hazel."
Hey, Des. Can you convince Eliza to leave?
Uh, I don't know. I couldn't convince you to listen to me for a second. I don't know why I should try to convince Eliza to do anything.
She nods.
Oh, for a bonus, can I any chance I can trigger encourage your friends despite the odds?
Ooh.
So here's a question.
Hmm.
What are the odds as you perceive them?
As Des perceives them, um, I mean, not incredible because we saw more monsters flooding in, right?
Indeed, they are now arriving in this parking lot.
Okay, then yeah. Des doesn't really. She's not exactly an offensive powerhouse, but she does think she's not gonna like back down from Hazel, even if she doesn't necessarily think we can win right here.
Then yes, you can.
Excellent. That is
Where
another.
does that put you?
Wouldn't you like to know, GM? That is at a +2 on the light side of things.
Alrighty. As you end your turn, you can feel that energy, that light, despite your better judgment, seeping into your bones, into your body. And at the end of your turn, you move another point toward light.
Heck yeah, this is a portal?
So it would seem.
Oh. Des has no idea. But me, Alice, I know. This is one of my favorite mechanics. Okay, great. Then the light seeps in and you can actually see as the light sort of slides over Desdemona's skin, shielding her as Guild comes online.
Des, please, come on. We're all friends here. We don't have to fight. You just have to trust us, okay? Come on. A 7 on the dice. with a +3 makes that a 10. Pushing you another point toward light.
Alrighty.
Chris,
Uh-huh.
as you lead Faith and this man toward the door, and you notice more people following with you, what are you doing?
Chris stops and turns and looks at all of them. This wasn't what she was hoping for, but it's what she's got. And she glances at Widow Peak Fucker and looks back to the rest of the group. People like me might be exceptional, but I can't protect all of you. I am already hurt. And I don't know what's best. But I know I have to get Faith back to Eliza at least. Would you be okay with me taking that as something better left unsaid?
I think so, yeah. There's a murmur that goes round, and it's weird to listen to because you are standing right there. You can hear these people. This is not the whisper of a library or the babble of a large group of people. No, you should be able to understand what these people are saying, but this murmur that goes through the crowd is supernaturally indistinct. And they look at each other and shift, and so does your friend. And she looks at the others and looks at you. I want to help these people. I should stay with them. I can't fight, but at least I can, keep a lookout or warn people or try to find, supplies or anything. I don't know.
And if I can't find you again? Eliza needs you too. What about the rest of you? What do you want?
There's that same murmur again as they discuss amongst themselves for a second. I want to get out of here. Yeah, me too. Yeah, you got in. Do you know the way out?
If there's any part of Faith that remembers how to read Chris, she can see the drop of Chris's heart into her stomach.
If she can read you, she doesn't seem to react.
She looks again at Mr. Widow Peak. Has the gray been consistent? Stayed the same? It's not repeating or changing? Can I find this place again?
It's hard to say. It's hard to pick out landmarks. You would think that we could find something like this place as easily as you would expect, but everything seems to become unfamiliar and samey from what we have seen. But if you're not sure you can find the way out, I think I may be able to set us on the right track.
Chris nods and turns to the group. I know you want out, Out is not going to save you. Out is not going to give you your lives back. What gives you your lives back is closing this place. And that requires that the person who made it be stripped of her powers in one way or another. Me and my friends have a lot of skill to be able to do that. But, and she looks to Mr. Widowpeak again as a confirmation. But if you leave, you're going to remember all this. And you might not be normal again.
One of the voices from the crowd. Wait, what does that mean?
It means if I can fix this, you'll never remember that this happened in the first place.
What? So you're gonna like Men in Black camera flash thing?
You're lucky I know that reference. Basically,
I don't know how I feel about that.
look. And she pulls everybody into a proper huddle this time. Here is the field. And she takes her bat and it transforms into something long and thin with a sharp point on it, and she traces a general outline of the gray, general point of where its center is. I don't know where we are in reference to this, but this is what it looks like from the sky. And the situation is that you were here when it was made. You've had something taken. If you leave and we fix this and close it, things go back to normal, and you're not in it when you're here. You remember all of this. If you stay, you might get hurt more in the process, but you won't remember it once things are fixed again. Now, Faith here is very important for one of my friends. She literally can't do the work that we need to do without her. So, I'm going to walk out this door, and I'm going to find a way out of here, and find a way to get my friends and to get this fixed. If you want to stay, stay. If you want to go with me, I won't stop you, and I will protect you. Chris breaks out of the huddle, and the thing in her hand turns back into a bat. She puts her hand on the door.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
roll sway.
You want me to use charm?
I think so.
Okay, that's currently a +1. That is 6 on the dice, +1 is 7.
Des, Eliza, top of the round. What are you doing?
Woohoo!
I have a thing.
Go for it.
Eliza suddenly raises one hand empty, just kind of as if signing everyone to stop. With the other hand, she manifests a little puff of yellow fire. And she says, "Wait! I get it now. Des cleared the darkness out of me." And she looks at Des with a smile. Des can tell this smile isn't completely genuine. She says, I get it. We don't have to fight. And she looks up, turning a almost sad smile on Faith. Says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She still hasn't remanifested her sword after she threw it. And she just starts walking up the balcony with her arms apart. Are we okay?
Faith looks at you, eyes wide. She starts to tear up in hope, but also in fear.
Eliza finishes climbing the stairs to the apartment. And also a little tearful, she wraps Blind Faith in a hug.
Mm-hmm.
In this hug, she fixes her arms under Blind Faith's shoulders, wraps her hands around each other behind Faith's back, and then her jetpack ignites.
As Faith realizes what you're about to do, she reaches out with one hand. Hazel! And Hazel whips around and lashes out with the sword at you
Oh,
because it seems like that was your turn.
yeah.
And with an 11 to hit, you take 3 stress as Hazel spins around, slashes across you. Don't you touch her! You have hurt her enough already.
Eliza's sword manifests from ash, and she actually beats Hazel's blade out of the way as it's coming towards her. The fire emanating from her jets shifts down through the spectrum from yellow to orange, then blue, and then settles on purple. Eliza is using her Endure ability to convert the stress she would have taken into darkness. And that parry was just masterful by comparison to what she's shown off before. And Eliza just looks Hazel in the eye and says, Did you think I taught you everything?
Do you think I learned everything from you? Player turn. Who's going?
It's me, baby. So to be clear, for my own like clarity here, the portal is in the ground zone.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then Des takes off again and lands on the balcony next to everyone.
This is a really small balcony. It's getting crowded.
Yeah, no, it's real tight in there. And looks at Blind Faith, the pseudo Faith, and goes, Faith, I am not asking you to betray Hazel or anything like that. I just want you to come with me. We can sit down and have a chat, and we can try and sort all this out. And she's gonna sway Faith. That is an 8. If I can add empathy, that is a 10 total.
Faith hesitates and looks from Hazel to you and back again. Please don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you, Faith. I'm not here to hurt anybody, not even Hazel.
Eliza just glances at Des.
What is your light at?
Rain, I've given it a lot of thought. I don't know that I want to tell you anymore. uh, uh, my light is currently at +4.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Des, please. Just tell Eliza to back. Please, just all. Why won't you all back off? It's gonna be fine. I fucked up, okay? A lot of people got hurt, and I'm trying to fix that. Why won't you let me? And Hazel is going to try to sway Des.
Yep.
That is a 7 on the dice.
Beautiful. Okay.
And with
Um,
her 5 conviction.
Yeah. Do I get to grab the camera as I hit my breaking point?
Absolutely.
Des feels this final burst of light seep into her, and she can feel her battle dress coming apart. And she smiles at Hazel. I did tell you, Hazel. I can give it up. Makes one of us, at least. It's important to me. It helps me protect my friends, even you. But I could give it up. And her battle dress shatters into little shards of glass that fly away from her. And she kind of slumps backwards.
Do you fall into unconsciousness?
No, I think she's still standing.
All right. What is it? Why don't you tell me this time? What is it that the light promises you? What is it that the light drags from your subconscious to promise you, to say that you could just have this if you would just join it, if you would just commit to it? You could keep your friends safe. You could keep all of your siblings safe.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If you just committed to it. And as that thought passes through your head, it is ripped away by something, and your battle dress shatters. And you stumble, tired, drained, unable to act. And I think that is a good place for us to wrap up this episode. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and thank you to my players. And I hope to see you all next week. Have a good night. Thank you again for joining us on this adventure. With Conviction is a production of Silver Maiden Games. If you would like to play Conviction, check out the game at silvermaidengames.itch.io. Music for the intro and outro of this podcast is A Soul with Conviction by Doom Vega, who you can find on Bandcamp. Music within the episodes is by Rachel Rose Mitchell, who you can find on Bandcamp and Spotify. All rights to the music are retained by their original artist. Production and editing are done by myself and the With Conviction cast. Thank you all. This would not be what it is without you. You can find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube or silvermaidengames.wordpress.com. You can also find more about the game, podcast, and ways to contact us at silvermaidengames.wordpress.com.